By now, we all know how powerful N8N workflows actually are. You can customize them to do essentially anything that you want. The problem is there's a little bit of a barrier to entry. If you're not an engineer, a coder, or a developer, it might be overwhelming. But in this video, I'm going to show you how I, as a non-technical person, built a fully automated marketing workflow. I'm talking a workflow that did all of my research for me, wrote all of my copy for me, distilled all of the research and information and ideas into a folder so that I could find popular video topics, I could find written content, and then if I wanted to take it to the next level, I could simply feed it to an AI generated version of myself, have it record the video, and quite literally do zero work to get high quality YouTube videos. Now don't worry, this is not a recording, this is real life, but I think you're gonna really like this video. The use case I gave might have been a little bit extreme, but regardless of if you're a business, you're looking to grow a brand, or you just wanna learn how to use N8N a little bit more, this is gonna be one of the most valuable N8N videos you've ever watched minute for minute. We're gonna try to keep it under 15 minutes. A lot of these N8N courses are about 8 hours long, but with that said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, let me just bring my screen over here. Okay, so building N8N workflows is easy, even if you're not a developer. So I don't want you to get intimidated. I don't want you to get nervous. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I'm gonna walk you through it step by step. There's only a couple steps, and it's pretty straightforward. So first, we gotta think about what is the end goal? Well, for the purpose of this video, I want the end goal to be to fully automate content marketing. And fully automate means research again, write, scripts, titles, thumbnails, etc., and then have it all ready for me to go so that I can either record it or feed it to a machine that can create a video based on my clone. Now, for the sake of this video, we're not going to do the AI clone. This is basically to automate everything up to the recording aspect. And this is just incredibly valuable. I mean, you would have paid someone thousands of dollars a month to do this type of research before. So step 2, we need to think about what tools do I need to accomplish this? Because when you're building out a workflow, you got to kind of reverse engineer. Okay, if I want to do this, what is every tool? And you can use, by the way, let me take a step back. When you're building N8N workflows, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, they're your friends. Talk to them. List every tool that I need for this workflow for N8N, and it'll help you. But I want to keep it simple in this video. So for what tools do I need to accomplish? We're going to do YouTube, we're going to do ChatGPT, we're going to do Google Docs, we're going to do Google Sheets. And so what this workflow is going to do is basically fully automate the process of content research. So we have the tools that we know. We are going to need to get API access for YouTube and for ChatGPT. More on that in a bit. We need Google Docs and Google Sheets. You're probably familiar with Google Workspace, so I won't go into too much detail there. Now, step 3, building a workflow prompt. Now, this is where things get interesting because in the past, what would happen is you would have this blank space with N8N, right? And you would basically just, it's kind of up to you how you want to go ahead and build this. And it can be overwhelming because the first step, you open it up, all these options pop up, and you're like, whoa, what does that even mean? I don't know. I have no clue what that means. That's overwhelming. I'm not a developer. What's happening here? That was my first thought, at least. Maybe not your thought. But let's simplify this a little bit. So instead of having to go through the N8N step by step, trigger manually, and to be fair, some of these aren't too difficult once you actually open it up, but it is a lot. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna use AI to build our entire workflow, but we need to build it in JSON. So JSON is essentially the language that AI speaks. And a little tip for you, anytime you're talking to AI, if you put it in a JSON format, you're going to get better output than if you just put it in natural language. Natural language is difficult for AI to digest. It's difficult for it to understand context. Obviously, it does a pretty good job because really the big unlock with these tools was letting you use natural language to talk to this machine, right? So anyways, we want to speak in JSON when we're talking to N8N. If you're using VO3 for Google to create videos, you want to speak in JSON. The prompt or the output is so much better. Okay? So with that said, I prefer using Claude. Now, I use ChatGPT for almost everything, but when it comes to coding, I use Claude. It's superior. I won't really go into too much details about this, but it's just a superior tool for coding. Okay, so I got my little prompt here already loaded up. Build an N8N flow that scrapes YouTube titles of videos, shows how many views the video got for specific channels, put those titles into a doc, feeds them to ChatGPT so ChatGPT can put them into a doc with alternate title suggestions. Now, so you're basically just walking through your workflow in the prompt, and then it's going to give you some output. So let's check out what Claude created for us. So you can see the prompt up here. So yeah, like I said, create a JSON file that I can upload to N8N that runs daily, pulls video from specific YouTube channels, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then it gives you a workflow overview. And then on this side, it creates the JSON file. So let's go ahead and see what this is looking like. All right. So we got our N8N workflow set up. Boom. Paste that sucker in there. Literally all you do is just copy and paste. Okay. This is a pretty simple, straightforward workflow. Okay. So just like that, we have our workflow created. Pretty sane. So the trigger is daily. So basically there's different, when you think about triggers in N8N, there's different ways you can trigger the start of a flow. This is just triggering every day at 8 a.m. So that's pretty straightforward. Sometimes you could choose a specific channel and say trigger every time this uploads a new video, just as an example. So next up, what we would do, and like I said, I'm not going to walk through all these on the video, but you'll get an idea. So what we need to do is we need to set the YouTube channels. So in here, what I would do is I would find the channels, I would take them to Claude, and I would ask it to, well, let's just walk through one example really quickly. So I'm going to use, and not my buddy, I follow his content. Okay, so what we want to do is I want to use this channel in my N8N workflow. And then I would show it this. Please give me the code. All right, so it's going to play with this for a minute. It's going to think through it. It's going to work through it. And we're going to give it just 2 seconds to work. Okay, so my bad. I need to get the channel ID. I think I can do that.
.com.
Okay, yeah, so it gave me this JavaScript, and I thought it was incorrect, so I added some more stuff, but turns out, actually, it looks like it works. So I just added it in here. It already had it in here for what I needed. Back to Canvas. So set YouTube channels. You can see the check mark. That means that's already good. We've got Nick's channels. Next, what we're going to do is go to recent videos. So from here, you would basically just keep doing the same thing. So you just take a screenshot, you put it in Claude, and you say, hey, what kind of output do you need from me? What info do you need to create this JavaScript or URL, whatever the case is. Where it gets really interesting is when we come to analyzing video performance. So this is basically just going to essentially just run all of the videos that have been posted, and it's going to extract the video topics, and then it's going to put it into an analysis document. So from here, what you need to do is go to Google Drive, create your document, understand what the information is. I haven't connected my Drive to this instance in N8N. But basically what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to click down and you'll have a credential that you can click because it'll already be connected, and you can just basically click that document, okay? So what you'll see is basically you'll have the document connected, then you'll have to connect to the ChatGPT API, and that's what I want to talk about next. So adding APIs. You're going to need APIs for a lot of this stuff, especially with ChatGPT. It's about $100 a month for the ChatGPT API, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to let all of this data be put into ChatGPT, and then it's going to take all of that data and it's going to connect it to a Google Doc. But that Google Doc needs to be separate from the one that you created before. This is your output document, right? So this is input, this is output, okay? And then it's going to update the master document, and then you can have it send a notification to Slack. Now, if you wanted to take it an entire step further, what you could do is you could go to a tool like HeyGen, and you can have an AI video generator that is literally a clone of you. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Speaks like you, talks like you, trained on you. And you simply add this and you have it feed all this information. Now, for my purpose, I haven't gone down the route of having AI generated clones create content or anything like that. But this is how you would pretty quickly, it would take probably an hour or two, but just set up a nice flow. Think about that. You spend an hour or two troubleshooting this and just making sure that all this is lined up correctly. And you're probably automating, at least 30 minutes a day, several hours a week of work of yourself or an employee. Now, this was a high-level overview, but it's really not that difficult. Anytime you run into an issue, just screenshot it, place it into your AI tool, and ask, what do I do? It will walk you through the entire thing. So the point is, you don't need to be some wicked developer to build N8N marketing workflows, customer service workflows, or anything like that. Now, by the way, just saying, This is for personal use or your business. If you have a business and you're trying to build a workflow around a customer or something like that, you got to be very careful, because if it breaks down, you're going to have a huge issue, right? So with all that being said, AI can automate virtually every manual thing you do in your business. And this is a great example. As someone myself that spends a ton of time creating content, it's just powerful. Okay. So what I need your help with is to like and subscribe and leave a comment on what kind of workflows do you want some help with? What do you want to learn more about building? What do you want to automate in your business, in your job, or in your life? This whole channel is created for people that want to learn and master AI without necessarily being an engineer or some type of technical background. So I hope this video was helpful. This is your N8N Workflow. Peace.